Chapter 7. Life in the City. L. As Lily and Pior stepped onto the cobbled streets, the evening air greeted them with a gentle breeze, carrying the scents of freshly baked bread, roasting meats, and the tang of spilt ale. Torches and lanterns lined the walls, casting a warm glow over the bustling street. Mismatched wooden signs swung in the wind, each decorated with the name of a different tavern or inn. The city had transformed under the cover of darkness. Vendors were closing their stalls, packing away the last of their goods, while groups of revelers staggered both in and out of the establishments they passed. Laughter spilt out of a tavern called the Mad Cow, and Lily caught the lively notes of a jig played on fiddle and flute before the sounds faded as the door swung shut. Passing another inn with its windows thrown wide open, she heard a singer with a powerful voice belting out a song to the beat of stamping feet on a wooden floor. Lily's gaze lingered on the swinging doors of a place called the Howling Wolf. The sign of swaying in the wind looked ominous, and she caught glimpses of the ruckus inside. A flash of movement, the sharp glint of a dagger being tossed, followed by a punch thrown, caused her to take an involuntary step back. Somewhere inside, a violin struck up a haunting melody, sharp and wild. She hesitated, but remained silent. Pior nudged her gently with his elbow, drawing her attention away.
"Almost there,"
he said with a grin, his voice barely audible above the din. The Howling Wolf was not their destination, and Lily sighed in relief. They continued onward, the sounds of revelry fading as they pressed deeper into the city's winding streets, where the lights grew fewer.
"Here we are, the Wild Hog,"
he exclaimed. Lily saw a small tavern with a welcoming sign of a smiling pig outside and could hear the faint notes of a guitar strumming inside. She drew her hood up as Pior led her inside with a gentle pat on her back. As they entered, a chorus of voices erupted, "Sir Pior!" Many patrons came over to greet him, and Lily felt pleasantly overlooked for once, save for a few polite nods in her direction. As they made their way back to the barkeep, he greeted them with open arms. "An honor as always, sir. I've set up our finest table in the back for you, Sir Haldor and the High Lady Finavera. Oh, and you've brought..." He paused, eyes widening as he looked into Lily's face. He shook and continued. "All friends of Sir Pior are welcome here, and I hope you'll feel the same way, Lady..." "Just Lily," she replied with a curtsy. "A hearty welcome to you, then, Just Lily." He smiled again and gestured toward the back of the tavern, where Lily saw Haldor and Fina waiting at a table. Drinks and food were being brought over, and they waited for her to join them. Lily gave Pior an admiring smile. "Quite the esteemed one, aren't you?" Pior gave a quick blush and waved it away.
"Well, the farmers and tradesmen like me well enough. These two are far more famous than I'll ever be."
He pointed at Fina and Haldor. They both just shook their heads, and Haldor added,
"You always tell me I am modest and beyond praise. Perhaps you should listen to your own advice and accept their words of encouragement, old friend."
The table filled up with fresh pork, potatoes, fruits, wine, and ale. Lily felt as though she hadn't eaten her fill in months. As they began eating, the barkeep set down the last tray. "I've made sure none of the other patrons will bother you. Heads tend to turn when you come here nowadays." He chuckled. "Sorry the food isn't what it used to be, your graces. It's hard to keep the shelves stocked with the war going on and all." "It's plenty," Fina said. "And I thought I asked you to stop addressing us that way, Greg." The barkeep placed a hand on his chest. "But that's what you are, my Lady Finavera. I'll address you no less. Now please, enjoy your stay." As Lily tore into a chicken leg, she felt dizzy. Looking up from her meal, she wasn't staring at Fina across the table anymore, but as someone who resembled her reflection. The table had transformed into white marble, and she sat in a grand hall, surrounded by food served on silver platters. The figure opposite her said something, but she couldn't quite make out the words. As she strained to listen, she thought she heard, "Dawnbreaker." "Lily." Lily blinked and saw Fina staring at her again. "You look pale. Are you all right?" Fina asked. "I'm fine. I just..."
"Do you remember something?"
Haldor asked. I saw something. Someone. I think he was my kin. The others looked around the room, eyes wide. He was not in here. It was like a dream, she added. Fina leaned in closer, scratching her chin. So no memory then, just an image. But that's still progress. Is this the first time? No. There have been glimpses. She paused, not sure how much to say. Before in Ilskar, but this time it was much more vivid. I see, Fina said, tapping her chin. Ghalen has asked us to do what we can to help jog your memory. His plans will take a few days to set in motion. So, in the meantime, we'll try what we can. Haldor, of course, intends to fight the memory out of you. She shot Haldor a sidelong look. He shrugged.
No need to complicate things.
Fina continued. Pyro plans to show you around, hoping that learning about the city might trigger something.
Oh, if we stuff her brain with enough things, it might start spinning again, like a greased-up wheel.
Pyro grinned. Fina sighed. Well, I intend to teach you our practices at the tower. That should be the most effective approach. We'll start in the morning. The other high seats of the tower have insisted on seeing you. They're still convinced you are the one who comes. But for tonight, I think we've earned some rest. The one who comes? Lily frowned. She preferred not having expectations placed on her, and this, whatever it was, sounded a lot like that. They think I am what? Ghalen didn't tell you. Fina tilted her head. The one who comes, according to one of Lumar's prophecy, an angel that will deliver the faithful in their time of need. I suppose he mentioned a prophecy during my capture, but you don't think I'm an angel, do you? She looked at their faces, searching for a response. Fina smiled. No. Ghalen asked me to read the signs and to test you. I believe you are special, certainly from beyond the wall. A high elf? Possible. But an angel incarnate? There's too much missing for that prophecy for me to believe so.
We are still convinced that our best chance lies in your memories. An alliance with a people as capable as you would make a difference in this war.
Haldor added. I will try my best, Lily said, unsure of herself. Yet, she felt excited for them. If one of the proposed strategies worked, her jumbled thoughts and restless mind could be whole again. She leaned back and wanted to think of anything other than coming wars. She ventured a question. Do you have any family in the city, Fina? Sorry if I'm overstepping. No, she responded. Only Haldor and Ghalen are raised in the city. That's why they have family here. Pyre laughed heartily.
Indeed!
He wiped some froth from his mustache.
Always the city lord, Haldor, with his learned manners and refined tastes. But I am a humble lad from the farmlands.
Fina nodded and added, Keld live in the east, where the rest of my family is. There I never had to freeze at night and was left alone to study, far away from these bloody ruffians. She eyed Pyre and Haldor playfully.
I think Lily might want to know how you end up in the capital, Fina.
Pyre added. Yes, of course. The Temple of Lumar originated in Keld. Only we can read the old scripts, and only we can use holy magic without breaking. The Iranians worship Lumar as well, thanks to Galen's grandmother. So the High Queen, rest her soul, saw fit that the chair of the temple should lay in the capital. As for why the high seats of the tower decided my cheeks would sit well beside theirs, I have no idea. The others laughed as Fina shook her head.
You are doing a damn good job of it. They all respect you,
Haldor said. Life was better as a simple priest, Fina muttered. The commoners respected me. I got free drinks and none of this damned responsibility. Pyre placed a hand on her shoulder.
You will be remembered as one of the best the temple has ever seen, Fina. I am sure of it.
Fina buried herself in her wine cup. Lily asked, And you two ended up as the king's personal guards?
Well, yes.
Pyre began chuckling.
My old man did a great service to Galen's father, you see, and in return, my schooling was paid in full by the capital. I wasn't much for reading, but in terms of fighting, not many could match me. I ended up befriending a timid little boy in my class who seemed in need of protection. As it turned out, he was the prince.
Pyor paused and added,
Thank the wind I didn't know that beforehand. I would not be brave enough to talk to him. But the prince was kind, and we became friends.
Haldor chimed in.
I come from a long line of Kingsguard, so it was never in doubt that I should become one too. I also befriended the king in training.
Pyor interrupted him.
You're forgetting the part where you bullied the poor princeling and ended up scuffling with me for it.
His voice sobered.
But you're selling yourself short, my friend.
He turned towards Lily.
Haldor is the greatest swordsman in the kingdom. His position as Kingsguard is not because of his family name, but his strength and skill.
Haldor responded with a dismissive shake of his head, then added,
As for Fina, she and the the king used to.
But he stopped as Lily caught Fina's boot connecting with his shin under the table. He met Fina's icy stare and fell silent. Pyor filled in.
Lady Fina is one of the highest seats in the Temple of Lumiere. It's customary for one of the high priests to ride into battle at the king's side.
The conversation grew less jovial, and Lily couldn't help but feel she had asked the wrong question. After a while, Fina stood. The hour grows late, my friends. It's time for me to retire. Do you want to join me, Lily, or will you stay a while longer? Lily looked about the room. Perhaps it would be wise to turn in for the night, but she did not feel like leaving yet. I might stay a bit longer. Fina gave Pyor and Haldor a stern look. Make sure she is returning safely to her chambers in the tower. With shared embraces, Fina exited the lively inn, leaving Haldor, Pyor, and Lily to their drinks and conversation. As the night wore on and the raucous laughter of the inn slowly faded, the once crowded room had thinned to only a few lingering patrons. Among them were Lily, her friends, and a group of 3 men whose attire seemed out of place in this rustic setting. Their tunics were woven from fine silks and adorned with intricate embroidery that caught the dim firelight. The men's boots were polished to a shine, their cloaks trimmed with rich velvet, hinting at wealth and privilege. They seem well dressed to be here, Lily murmured, her gaze lingering on the men as they leaned forward. Their voices lowered in murmurs to the women surrounding them.
Nobles rarely visit these parts,
Haldor replied.
But perhaps the promise of a woman's hand has lured them here.
The women, draped in dresses that clung to their curves, seemed to be just as captivated by the men's charms as their appearance. Each had their hair carefully arranged in soft waves or intricate braids. The simplicity of their attire revealed that they were likely from more modest means. One of the men in a black tunic was gesticulating widely. You should have seen the glory of my men at the front. The name of my house will be carved in legends. Combine my soldiers' glory with the riches of my house, and you are looking upon a future ruler of these lands, my ladies, he added with an elegant bow. The women seemed quite taken with him. So you fought at the front lines yourselves, my lords? Well, I have more of a managing role, he added awkwardly. Dying for nothing is more for the poor and the fools who call themselves brave. You can win glory without rushing to an early grave, another of the nobles added with a smug smile. Haldor shook his head, glancing at Lily and Pyor.
Absolutely shameful,
he spat in his empty cup.
Lords of their houses sending out men under their command to die while they cower in their estates?
Overhearing his words, one of the lords turned to them. Have I offended you, Kingsguard? Have you no royal to attend to? The lord asked spitefully, eliciting giggles from the women.
No offense was taken. Please pardon us, my lords.
Pyor responded. My lords, another man interjected, a sneer curling his lips, clearly mocking Pyor's dialect. A northerner this deep in the city wearing royal seals? What charity case is this? I would have you tend my fields, but it seems this war has made the boy king desperate for choice. The nobles all laughed. Lily clenched her fists, ready for a fight. The exchange was making her angry, and feeling dizzy from the drinks was not helping. Upon hearing the last scoff of disrespect, Haldor rose from his chair, knocking over the cups on their table. He moved to the bar and clasped the offending lord by his neck, lifting him clean off the ground. Haldor began in a voice as cold as ice.
The man you insult is Sir Pior, the Tower, King Ghalen Whitmore's personal guard. He has faced more enemies than your pitiful house combined, and not faltered for a second. You should all be ashamed, staying behind while your bannermen die in your name.
He turned to the women, who looked on in shock.
If you had hoped to leave with men tonight, you'd only find cowardly boys here.
The women scurried out of the inn. Pior placed his hand on Haldor's shoulder.
Enough!
Haldor shrugged and let the man drop. Lily prepared for a retaliation from the lords, but they only stared, frozen in fear. Pior spoke to the trembling lords.
Forgive us, my lords. We've had a bit too much to drink tonight, and ask your pardon as we take our leave.
He grabbed Haldor's arm and steered him toward the exit, waving Lily over with his other hand. She hurried after them as they walked towards the tower. Haldor sighed.
Why are you always so reasonable? Always so kind? Doesn't the injustice of it all drive you mad?
Pior looked up at the sky, a few stars peeking through the clouds, and smiled.
If the war we fight can lead to peace so deeply ingrained, even men this weak and frail get to live a life of happiness. It's a war worth fighting, no?
They both laughed. Pior looked at Haldor.
How about you? Is it not time for you to be reasonable for once? When will you accept Galen's offer?
Join the Lord Marshal at the General's table? Being Kingsguard was enough for my father. Why would it not be enough for me?
He said, yawning. Pior shook his head.
Your father is a great man, but you do not have to live in his shadow.
He paused.
Sometimes you have to ask what you want from life.
Haldor gave a very rare smile back.
I want you to stop nagging me.
Gee. Ghalen lurched, his foot snagged on the plush crimson carpet of a castle's common room.
Damn it!
He cursed under his breath as wine sloshed from the goblet he'd just refilled. The room was a study in dimness, illuminated by a few flickering candles and the dying embers of the fireplace. He slumped into a chair, the weight of the day crashing down on him. Books on strategy and Elgaric histories were scattered around him, testaments to his futile search for answers within their pages. Whispers, like a persistent hum, had echoed through the corridors. Naive youth. Though no one dared to voice it to his face, he understood the sentiment. Reading and learning were important for boys, but men ruled through strength in Arania. He ascended the throne young, and being a scribe in training was no help to him.
I never wanted this damn crown!
Yet, the sting of those whispers remained. He wouldn't be a warrior king like his predecessors, since charging headfirst into battle held no solution here. A knock startled him from his brooding. Straightening his posture, he called out,
Enter.
The door cracked open, and Leor stepped in with careful precision, holding a tray with a flask of water. Your water, sire, he said.
Thank you, Leor.
Ghalen replied, offering a brief nod. Leor moved forward, placing the tray on a side table. As he turned to step back, his gaze lingered on the wooden board spread out before Ghalen, curiosity flickering across his youthful face. He hesitated, then asked, Is that Dominion? His voice held a tone of uncertainty. I've never learned to play. Ghalen glanced at the board, a complex tapestry of elemental zones symbolizing the fractured balance of the continent. The game, Isle Dominion, was more than a mere pastime. It mirrored the intricate and often brutal dance of power that engulfed their kingdom. For a moment, Ghalen studied Leor, seeing not a squire, but a boy burdened by a war's harsh realities far too soon. He took a deep breath, setting his own cup down. The soft clink of ceramic against wood seemed to mark a decision.
Well,
he said, reaching for the flask.
Since you've brought the water, will you help me refill my cup?
Leor stepped forward, pouring the water with careful hands.
Thank you,
Ghalen said, offering a genuine smile.
Now, why don't you pull up a chair? I think it's time you learned this game.
Leor's eyes lit up as he placed the flask on a table and hurried to sit down. Ghalen moved his sunstone piece to the center of the board and arranged the other elemental pieces.
Each player has a sunstone, which is the soul of their kingdom. Lose it and you lose the game. Understand?
Leor nodded, his gaze fixed on the sunstone as if it were a real treasure. Ghalen continued, demonstrating each piece's movement and abilities.
Your task is to use them wisely, either to defend your sunstone or to capture mine.
Ghalen began the game. Leor made some clumsy moves at first, but he was a quick learner. Ghalen felt a sense of satisfaction watching the boy think, strategize, and finally smile. A simple, innocent pleasure in a world that offered so little of it these days. Leor looked up. Do you remember the duel between Lily and Kingsguard Darkstone, sire? It was amazing. Someday, I wish to be that skilled with a blade. I mean, surely you could beat them, my liege. He stumbled over the formality.
At ease, lad.
Ghalen chuckled.
I too was impressed by their skill. But remember, the goal is not always to outfight your enemy, but to outthink them. The best battle is the one resolved before it begins.
Leor looked perplexed. I understand, sire, and I'm grateful for the lesson. Ghalen laughed, placing a hand on the squire's shoulder.
You don't need to understand yet, Leor. The board is yours to keep. Hone your skills and challenge me again when time permits.
Leor had barely closed the door before he opened it again and peeked in. My liege, nobleman Pivera requests an audience. Ghalen was not expecting him to report so soon, and not at this hour.
Let him in.
Ghalen rose and paced as Pivera, who always exuded a certain rat-like quality, squeezed through the doorway. My liege. Pivera bowed deeply. Ghalen gave a curt nod.
Has something changed since the council meeting?
Pivera's eyes darted nervously. Not exactly, Your Highness. This matter is better suited for a private audience. Ghalen sighed.
Games again.
He gestured towards a chair.
Out with it, then. What have you learned?
Pivera settled into a seat. Undeniably, loyalty to your family runs strong, my liege.
That is a positive development.
Indeed, Pivera agreed. But loyalty to your family does not translate to loyalty to you personally. I wouldn't want to overstep, but how much faith do you have in your cousin?
Cedric. I trust him with my life.
Pivera's brow furrowed. He locked eyes with Ghalen, his demeanor shifting from timid mouse to calculating snake in a heartbeat. That's good to hear. However, I fear the rebels' plot goes beyond mere power grabs. Whispers suggest a more ambitious scheme to unseat you, my liege. It seems your war hero cousin might be an enticing alternative in their eyes.
Cedric wouldn't stoop to such treachery,
Ghalen said, but he felt a knot forming in his stomach. One can only hope. Pivera said smoothly, but perhaps keeping an eye on him wouldn't hurt. Just a precaution, of course. As Pivera excused himself, Ghalen was once again left to his thoughts. He sighed. The intricacies of shadow politics and the constant game of favors made his head spin.
Don't these fools realize we stand on the brink of extinction?
Lifting his eyes, he met the piercing gaze of his grandmother, immortalized in a grand painting. Even seated, she towered, clad in battle armor over a riding skirt. Her intense brown eyes and thick black braid cascading to her waist exuded a commanding presence. Her aura was as formidable in paint as it had been in life.
You never second-guessed yourself, did you, grandmother? You'd have squashed any rebellion as easily as squashing a bug.
A heavy sigh escaped him as he buried his face in his hands. The weight of her legacy felt like a chain around his neck. A standard he feared he'd never meet, even if he outlived the impending storm. Cedric, a traitor? The thought was unimaginable. His cousin had always been there for him, teaching him to ride, to fence, always defending Ghalen against his two brothers. Galen's head sank further into his hands.
Perhaps it would be best to send Cedric north to rally the Elskarians for the war. keeping him away from the throne, just as a precaution.